Most hottest carry guns of 2026 are a lie. Not at the range, not in reviews, but 8 hours later, when you're stuck adjusting it in a gas station line like an idiot, that's where it falls apart. This list, top 10 hottest CCW pistols of 2026, isn't about what shoots the best for 2 mags. It's about what you can actually carry all day without hating it. I figured that out the hard way after running one of the most recommended pistols this year and realizing by noon I didn't even want the damn thing on me anymore. It wasn't failing on paper. It was failing in real life, digging into my side, printing when it shouldn't, making me constantly aware of something that's supposed to disappear. And yeah, I almost doubled down and bought another one just like it because everybody kept pushing the same names. That's the trap. So I ran a rule. If it fights me during a normal day, it's out. And some big names didn't survive that. The CZ P-10S isn't the shiny carry gun people chase in 2026. That's exactly why it keeps coming back. Everybody's been running thinner, smaller, lighter guns until they actually carry them all day. By noon, those same guns start getting annoying, snappy, harder to control, always reminding you they're there. And that's where this thing starts making sense again. One guy I know switched after a bad day that made him question everything. He'd been running one of those smaller carry setups, and it looked good on paper. In reality, it just wasn't comfortable to live with. Not shooting, not carrying. The P-10S felt different right away. Slightly thicker, yeah, but it sat better in the hand. It didn't snap as hard, didn't need constant correction. I threw it on later. Sitting in the car, I kept waiting for that slow pressure to show up. That digging into your side that makes you shift every few minutes. It didn't? That's the trade people are starting to notice again. Not the smallest gun, not the trendiest, but something you can actually carry without it turning into a problem halfway through the day. Only thing, I still don't love how thick it feels in certain setups. Not a deal breaker, but you notice it, and that's why it's back. Not because it changed, because people did. I was stuck between 2 bad options for a while. Either carry something big enough to actually shoot well and deal with it digging into your side all day, or go small enough to disappear and accept that it feels like a toy the second you actually need it. That's where most people sit right now. I was there too. Then I grabbed a PSA Dagger Micro on a whim. The price was low enough that it almost felt like a throwaway decision. I figured it'd be another one of those guns that feels decent for an hour, then turns into a compromise by lunch. It didn't. Threw it on with a regular t-shirt, middle of a hot day, sweat already kicking in. I kept waiting for something to go wrong, printing, grip slipping, that cheap gun feel creeping in. Never really happened. Hours in, sitting, driving, moving around, it still felt like a real pistol, not a backup, not something I was tolerating, something I could actually use without thinking about what I gave up to carry it. That's what messed with me. Because it wasn't supposed to sit in that middle ground. Cheap guns usually don't. Only thing, the price still messes with your head. And I know a lot of guys will feel that too. One good day doesn't erase every question around a budget carry gun, but it did something I didn't expect. It made that whole big versus small argument feel kind of stupid. And what comes after this pushes that same idea even harder, just in a very different way. HK doesn't get to show up late to the micro carry fight and be average. It was already in my head the first time I carried the CC9 back in 2025. HK finally stepping into this space. It had to feel different. I threw it on expecting that usual HK confidence, just in a smaller package. And to be fair, it felt solid right away. Not cheap, not flimsy, nothing about it felt rushed. It sat right, drew clean, shot fine. Sitting in the car later, I kept noticing it. Not digging, not painful, just there. Not invisible like some of the smaller guns. And that's where it got tricky, because once it feels that put together, you stop giving it any slack. Every detail starts standing out more than it normally would. The trigger, the return, how it settles under speed. You start picking at things you'd ignore on other guns. It holds up. It really does. But with HK, that's not the bar. Not at that price, not with that name. You keep running it, trying to figure out if it actually stands out or just lands where it should have from the start. That's the part that sticks. It's solid, no question, just not in a way that shuts the conversation down. Very recently, I was standing in a shop getting annoyed. Every gun I asked about, same answer. Holsters, we can order it. Different carry position, might take a week. It was that lap where nothing's ready when you actually need it. Then I asked about the Glock 43 XMOS. The guy didn't even explain it. Just turned and pointed behind him. Whole wall, appendix rigs, IWB, optics cuts, cheap setups, expensive ones, left hand, right hand, every variation already sitting there like it's been solved 100 times. That's when it clicked. The 43XMOS isn't exciting. It's everywhere. I carried it the next day. Morning drive, quick stops, in and out of the truck, normal stuff. At first, nothing stood out. It just worked the way people expect it to. Then later, leaning forward, catching a reflection in a glass door, I saw it. Not bad, just enough. Adjusted the shirt, sat down again, felt fine, stood up, checked again. That cycle started repeating. It's slim, yeah, but the grip doesn't disappear the way you think it will. Wrong angle, wrong posture, and it shows just enough to mess with your head, and now you're thinking about it. That's the trade. It solves almost everything before you carry it. But once it's on you, you don't fully forget it's there. Keys, wallet, phone, then the SIG P365 X-Macro clipped on like it belonged there. That's why it almost won. In 2026, worth carrying starts with one thing. You actually carry it. And this thing made that easy while still feeling like a real gun, not some cut-down compromise everyone pretends is enough. Whole day went normal. In and out of the truck, sweat, errands, leaning over a cart, no adjustments, no second thoughts. It just sat there doing its job. I caught myself getting comfortable with it, a little too comfortable. That's where it flipped. Late afternoon, I did a quick check out of habit. Shirt hem, holster clip, thumb on the mag base plate. Something felt off, not loose, not falling out, just not right. That tiny gap you don't want to feel. I stepped into the garage, shut the door, pushed it in, racked it, pressed it out. Everything worked. No failure, no drama, but that wasn't the point. Because once you feel that, even once it doesn't leave the same way it showed up. Now, every time you touch it, you're checking again, and that's the part that sticks with you. It carries easy, shoots like a bigger gun, checks all the boxes, but that moment changes how you carry it. And what came after this didn't mess with my head like that. It hit me somewhere else entirely. I get why the G3C keeps moving. You look at the price, then look at everything else in the case, and your standards start shifting whether you admit it or not. That gap is real, and you see it everywhere. Guys buying it, carrying it, defending it, not because they think it's perfect, because it's reachable. It puts a gun on your belt without forcing you into that higher price bracket. That part makes sense. But I've been around long enough with Taurus to not ignore the other side of it. I've seen them run fine, and I've seen them choke in ways that stick with you longer than they should. That's the tension with the G3C. For some people, it does exactly what they need. It carries easy, shoots well enough, doesn't beat you up during a long day. It makes more expensive guns feel like overkill. And then there's that other side that never fully goes away. That hesitation didn't come from nowhere, so you end up in this weird middle ground. You understand why people choose it, but you also understand why others won't touch it. That's why it stays hot. Not because everyone trusts it, because enough people can actually carry it. And cheap can make a lot of sense, right up until it doesn't. Halfway through the day, I was done, seatbelt digging in, leaning over a gas pump, standing in line, just constant reminders. The gun on me wasn't built for real carry. Looked good, sure. Sounded good when people talked about it, but living with it? Different story. By the time I got back in the truck, decision was made. Next day, I clipped on the FN Reflex, not expecting much. Thought it'd be another one of those nice on paper guns. It wasn't. It just stayed out of the way. No belt drag, no shifting, no moment where I caught myself thinking, why did I wear this today? Hours passed and nothing built up. No pressure, no irritation sitting in the background. It just sat there and did its job. And That's what pissed me off a little, because the market keeps pushing bigger names, louder guns, more features. Like, that's what carry is. But in 2026, people are starting to swing back. After chasing bigger carry guns, guys are realizing the ones that actually disappear on you all day are the ones that win. That's why the Reflex is getting attention. Not flashy, just usable. Only problem: try finding the same level of holster and setup support you get with Glock-type guns. It's not there yet. Still, I made the switch. And what came after this didn't disappear at all. It pushed back in a completely different way. A couple months ago, I didn't even plan to touch the Ruger RXM. A buddy of mine handed it over at the range like, run this. No pitch, nothing. Just in my hand. First few mags, it felt steady. Not flashy, not weird, just predictable. I pushed it, faster strings, rough grip, and it didn't fall apart. Stayed flat enough. Follow-ups were there, which almost made it boring. Later, I threw it on for a few hours. Not a full test, just normal movement, in and out, grabbing stuff. Reaching up into the truck at one point, I caught myself adjusting it without thinking. Not because it hurt, just because it was there more than I expected. That's when it clicked. This isn't built to disappear like the smaller carry guns. You're aware of it, not fighting it, but not forgetting it either. This is what you carry when you're tired of juggling roles. Ruger stepped into that Glock lane. Simple, familiar, works. And people are paying attention because of that. I handed it back after that, and that was the part I couldn't shake. It's not the easiest gun to forget on your belt, but it makes the trade-off feel honest. If you want the smallest carry possible, this isn't it. But if you want something that still feels capable the second you clip it on, that's why the M is getting hot. The M&P Shield Plus is the one I keep coming back to when everything else starts feeling like work. I've carried smaller guns that disappear, bigger ones that shoot better, newer ones everyone swears by. After a while, you notice the pattern. Most of them need something from you. Adjustment, attention, constant checking. The Shield Plus doesn't. Clipped it on one morning and didn't think about it again until I pulled it off that night. Driving, sitting, bending, getting in and out. It never started that slow pressure. Never made me shift, never made me check a mirror. At one point, I reached for something on a high shelf and caught myself bracing for that usual tug or print. Nothing. Grip's slim, but your hand actually fills it. Doesn't feel like a toy when you press it out. And when things speed up, the trigger just goes without you babysitting it. Yeah, it's still hot in 2026. Not hype, not specs, it just removes the problem people keep running into with these tiny carry guns. I've gone smaller, I've gone bigger, tried to replace it, still end up back here. It's not perfect, not the smallest, not the deepest aftermarket, but it's the one that doesn't turn into a project halfway through the day. And that matters more than people admit. And the one at the top, it solves the part even this still doesn't. By mid-afternoon, I was waiting for it to start bothering me. Springfield Hellcat Pro had been on since morning, driving out, walking a trail for a bit, in and out of the truck, crouching down, grabbing stuff out of the bed, standing around longer than planned. That's usually where it shows up. Not failure, just that slow build, pressure, shift, that reminder on your belt that doesn't go away. So I kept checking for it, adjusted once, squatted down again, slower this time, leaned forward with the seatbelt cutting across it. Nothing hit the way I expected. Later, stepping up onto the tailgate, I finally felt it. A little bit of grip pressing, just enough to remind me it's there. And honestly, that made more sense because the Hellcat Pro isn't one of those disappears guns. It's not trying to be. It gives you a full grip, real capacity, something you can actually run, and somehow doesn't punish you for it halfway through the day. That's where most fall apart. They feel great early, then you start paying for it. This one delays that bill longer than anything else I've carried lately. Not forever. You still feel it, still notice it sometimes, but it never turns into something you have to manage. And that's why it sits at the top. Not perfect, not invisible, just the one that gives you the most without taking it back all day. So that's the line I ended up with. Trust isn't the gun that works once. It's the one that stops making you wonder, The one you don't keep adjusting, don't keep thinking about, don't keep defending yourself. And yeah, these still aren't perfect. There are things about them that still skin. I just trust them. The difference. So now I'm curious, what's the handgun that actually earned trust? Like, not the one you paid for, the one you stopped questioning. I'm Steve. Part most people don't like admitting. You use what you trust until you've already committed to the wrong.